intensity of the electric field due to a continuous charge distribution. Now, first of all, before doing this topic, you should understand what is a continuous charge distribution. Earlier, you have studied in this chapter only that force acts between two charges, how the force acts, and what is the electric field intensity of a point charge. And you have also studied that the Coulomb's force it acts on the point charges. This formula is suitable for the point charges. But what will happen when the charges are not point charges? Means there is no quantum nature of the charges, rather the charges are distributed over some length, over some area, or over some volume. Means the charge is continuously distributed on the surface, maybe on the surface or on a wire. So let's discuss how to deal such cases. Suppose that your charge distribution is not a point charge, rather it is a linear charge distribution. Now, linear charge distribution is like a wire simply. And what we know about this distribution is the total charge on this line or on this wire. Let us say that the total charge is Q. If Q is the total charge on this wire, then how to find out the electric field or the force due to this wire on a point P? And let us suppose that on this point P we have kept a test charge Q naught. Now I don't know how to find out because my Coulomb's law formula it deals with two charges. Now what will be the method? We will consider this line charge distribution composed of very small elements of charge. Let us say L is the total length of the wire. I will suppose that this L is made up of very small dl elements which are infinitesimally small and which are infinite in number also, right? Now, what is important here is to find out the charge density, means charge per unit length. See here, if Q is the charge distributed over the whole length L, then Q by L will be called lambda. Lambda is here linear charge density, right? Linear charge density. So this is important to find out linear charge density. What is linear charge density? Charge per unit length, and its units will be coulomb per meter. Now, when I know the linear charge density of this charge distribution, which is the line charge distribution or the charge distribution over a length, right? Then I will say that if this line is made up of very small elements dl, then the charge on one dl element will be dq. And how to find out that dq charge? It will be length multiplied by linear charge density. Why? Because linear charge density का मीनिंग क्या है? चार्ज पर यूनिट लेंथ. अगर एक यूनिट लेंथ का चार्ज लेमडा है तो डीएल लेंथ का क्या होगा? लेमडा इंटू डीएल. दिस इज सिंपली योर unitary method, right? So you have to conceive it like this. If 1 meter charge 1 meter या unit length has charge lambda, then dl length will be having charge lambda into dl. So this is the charge on this small element dq charge, right? Dq is lambda into dl. Rest everything is the same. Now we will say that this dq charge is having some force on this charge Q naught. That force will be dF force, small force because of the small element, and it will be given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Q1 Q2 की जगह क्या आ गया? Q naught dQ divided by the distance square. This distance I have taken R21. So R21 square into R21 cap, that is the unit vector, because we are taking the force in the vector form. So if small force exerted by small element is this much, then the force exerted by the whole length will be integration of these forces, small forces, that we can do integration over the whole length L of the wire. Now in that integral, these things will be common. Integration is also a summation where the lengths are tending to 0. That's why that summation goes to integral form. So it becomes q naught upon 4 pi epsilon naught integral of L lambda dl upon r21 square into r21 vector. Now force is calculated. It's very easy to calculate electric field due to this line charge on this point by this formula F upon Q naught. So this will become the electric field due to linear charge distribution. Now when you understand this topic, then the other two topics are very easy to understand. Moving to surface charge distribution. Now the charge distribution is not linear, it is a surface. Surface like a plain sheet, right? So the total charge again, if we know the total charge is Q, total surface is S, then here we will find out the surface charge density. Surface charge density is given a symbol sigma. You have to remember these symbols. Lambda was a symbol of linear charge density. Sigma is a symbol of surface charge density. And it will be charge upon total surface area. And dq here will be sigma ds due to a very small surface area element. Rest everything is the same. Only lambda dl is replaced by sigma ds. Similarly, the third article, volume charge density. Now there is a volume. Volume means the charge is distributed over a sphere or over a cube which is having some volume. Then it will be having the volume charge density, that is charge per unit volume, which is denoted by rho. This is the symbol rho. And the charge on a small volume element will be rho dV. Rest everything is again same. You will find out the force due to this charge element on this point P by the formula of Coulomb's law. Then you integrate it over the complete volume and you get the electric field by dividing the force by Q naught. And here in place of lambda dl you have rho dV. Next topic is electric field, which we have discussed yesterday. So electric field, just like electric field, other fields are also existing like gravitational field, magnetic field. So field is always a region around the particle, whether it is a charged particle or having some mass or it's a magnet within which its influence can be felt. Then electric lines of force. Now electric lines of force, these are imaginary lines, right? These are we imagine that every field is made up of number of lines of force. And what are lines of force? These are simply the paths which are traced by it. By convention, its definition is like this only, that any electric lines of force is an imaginary path in the electric field where if a free isolated unit positive charge is uh, allowed to move, that charge will take that path in the electric field which is called electric lines of force. So this is the definition, that the lines of force is that imaginary smooth curve drawn in an electric field along which a free isolated positive charge moves. And the tangent drawn at any point on the electric lines of force gives the direction of the force acting on a positive charge placed at that point. So just like magnetic lines of force, tangent at any point of the electric line of force, it gives the direction of electric field at that point. And here again the same question can be asked, can two electric lines of force intersect? No, they can never. Reason being because then on the point of intersection there will be two tangents on the two curves, that is two directions of electric field on the same point, which is not possible, right? So two lines of force can never intersect. Then comes the shape of electric lines of force, which can be asked to be drawn as a question's answer, like 1 mark or 2 mark question can be asked. So all the positive charges, they have electric lines of force coming out of them, radially out. So unit positive charge, sorry, or any point charge which is positive in nature, lines of force will be originating from that positive charge. Reason क्या है इसका? इसका रीज़न समझिए क्या है। हम कहते हैं लाइन ऑफ फोर्स इज दैट इमेजिनरी पाथ जिस पे अगर यूनिट पॉजिटिव चार्ज रख दिया जाए देन इट विल स्टार्ट मूविंग, राइट। तो अगर हमारा चार्ज यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव है, यूनिट पॉजिटिव चार्ज भी पॉजिटिव है, then it will start moving away from the source charge. That's why lines of force of the source charge which is positive, they are coming out of it, because by definition, by convention, the definition of these lines of force is such. Similarly, for negative charges, if unit positive charge is placed, negative charge will attract that positive charge. That's why lines of force are coming towards the negative charge. And for a dipole, we'll be studying dipole this year. Many articles we'll be dealing with the dipole. Dipole is a system of two charges, one is positive, one is negative, placed very close to each other. So these kinds of lines of force are traced for a for an electric dipole. And if two charges are of same nature, then electric lines of force are like this. Why? Because these charges would repel each other. Then for a linear charge density, means a uniformly charged wire or a rod, these will be the this will be the nature of electric lines of force. And such a line of force, they constitute uniform electric field. So whenever you are asked to draw uniform electric field, so you will draw only this much portion, this much. These are parallel lines pointed towards one direction. They show uniform electric field. Then comes your properties. Before properties, there is one more diagram showing the lines of force between two oppositely charged plates, which is actually a plate capacitor. So these kinds of lines of force originating from positive plate coming towards the negative plate. The properties, I have almost discussed all the properties. So you go through these properties and try to learn all the properties. That is it up for today. And if you want me to discuss, I may. So but firstly you should go through it yourself, right? So